Hey, welcome to the GFL Marriage Matters podcast. We believe marriage matters, and despite its challenges, it can still be a beautiful love story.
All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of GFL Marriage Matters podcast.
Yes. So in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about these three things. So first one is asking for help. 2 is open communication. 3 is having a healthy sex life. And we're going to break down each and every one. And if you feel like your marriage is just kind of in the verge of
just kind of falling apart.
Yeah, falling apart.
Maybe you're just good roommates or becoming distant.
You definitely want to stick around to the end because we will give you homework. So don't make any sudden decisions until you start working on these 3 areas. So we're back at it again. Finally, it's been a while, a very, very long while.
Yeah.
And so we missed you guys. We missed doing this. And one of the things that if you're new here, God kind of just definitely talks to our hearts, and we just say, hey, God, use us today. What do you want from us? And so we've been hearing God say, marriage is being under attack. Marriages are being under attack, and there's need for that beacon of light. So we decided to just rebrand and here to just share with you guys, the tips.
Yeah, definitely want to share the tips. We have been through the ringer ourselves. We've come a long way as a blended family. We've come a long way as individuals.
Married 18 years.
Well, this year is going to be 18 years in November. So it doesn't come without its bumps and bruises and hurts and heartache.
It's hard, guys. It's hard.
Yeah, all the stuff. It's hard. So what we want to do is just continue to kind of help you in your marriage wherever you're at. Maybe you're listening to this and you're 30 years deep, and you hear something that we say that's like, hey, you may want to check yourself. You might want to change this and think about this differently.
Yeah.
That's even better too. We want to be part of a community that's willing to share information,
help each other. That's
willing to help each other, because we need to be a community. We need to be willing to help each other out. But what I'm noticing is that we are so just what do you say? We're so compelled to pretend like everything is okay.
So with that, I've been teaching my kids that getting help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. So remember that. Remember that when you're yelling at 3:00 in the morning and you have pastors, you have disciples, you have mentors, and they say, call me anytime, and you don't call, it's not weakness. Okay? Yeah. It's a strength.
And that's actually our first tip.
Yeah.
Right? And so it might sound, well, duh, I knew that. Well, then maybe this is that opportunity for you to hear it again and say, duh, maybe I should be doing that. and seriously, really put it to use. So get help. If you don't have the mentor that she mentioned, if you don't have the pastors available,
you can call us.
If you don't have, somebody that's close to you that can tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Not somebody that's going to be like,
leave him. Dude, he sucks.
Yeah. Somebody that's going to say, you know what? This isn't right.
Yeah.
You're not doing what's right. This is what needs to change, and give you some advice. If you come alongside somebody lovingly and you want to support them and hear them out, for sure, do that. But there has to be, at some point, how do we get back to the right place and right relationship? And so for us, Christ has been the absolute glue that holds this marriage together.
Yeah.
Right? Our pastor would say, without God's grace, without God in the middle, we wouldn't make it. And he goes on to say that grace is kind of like the lubricant that allows 2 gears or 2 people that are completely different to function together. And we just wouldn't be able to make it without God's grace. Mm-hmm. And so Christ is the foundation that has helped us understand each other better.
So the first thing about getting help is understanding that it is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And so in marriages, especially in the Hispanic community, it's no, don't tell anybody that word.
Yeah, these are my problems. Nobody needs to know about our business. That's a huge cultural thing. And I'm pretty sure it's not just us, right? If that's you, let us know down in the comments where you're from.
I'm Hispanic and I can't tell anybody about nothing.
And I mean, there's this rabbit hole of reels that we get caught in sometimes where it talks about
No,
Hispanic.
We don't watch social media.
Hispanic moms. And we could sit there and we're just busting up. But It's because there's some like real scars inside there, like some real wounds that we like we relate to. So it may not just be, you know, culturally the Hispanic culture in our marriage, you know, we're trying to keep all of our problems under wraps. It's my problem, so I'll figure it out myself. Yeah. Nobody else needs to know my problems. That's my business. And sometimes we even push that same thought on our kids.
Yeah.
You know, so now it's almost like the kids out in public, oh, I can't talk to anybody. I can't get help because I'm going to get in trouble. And the fear from the parents is so great that they are scared to open up to somebody. Right. Yeah. So it can create some serious issues there.
So just think about this. If you weren't taught to have a perfect marriage. If your parents did not have a healthy marriage, like, you're not going to know how to do that. So you need help, and you need guidance on how to do certain things and change it up. So there is a verse in the Bible that says we're renewed by what?
We are transformed by the renewing of our mind.
So that means that you need to have new information in your brain in order to do things differently. Other than that, you're not. And so if you don't seek help, you're going to be doing the same thing over and over. And what does our pastor say? He has the same thing.
Yeah, well, he's kind of a spinoff of Einstein's quote, right? But he would say, you know, to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results is stupid.
So let's change it up, guys. Today, if you have a mentor, if you have a pastor, if you have just a counselor that you can go and ask for help, you need to go and ask for help and just tell them, I need help with these issues.
If you don't have that, now's a good time to get that. Yeah. We just, it's not enough to feel in love. It's not enough to just think that your good intentions are going to get you through every difficult time in your marriage. It's not enough to just say in front of everybody, oh, I promise to love you, and then never, ever again think that you have to work on yourself.
Yeah,
or think that you have to work on each other or to be a better husband or wife to your spouse.
Yeah.
What happens is, like, just because we get married, we think we've made it. No, that's just the beginning, right? It's the end of our single life, but it's the beginning of this new adventure together as a couple, where we need to continuously do the work, because we're not the same people as we were.
Yeah,
we're not the same people as we were 17 years ago. Yeah. It's just no way. Life has changed us in many different ways.
Yeah, and you're going to continue to change. And so you need to learn how to love your wife and your husband in these new seasons and these new changes that they're going through, whether it's menopause, whether it's, you know, they left the job, whether it's a new career, whether it's parenting, now you're pregnant, like all of these new phases, you have to learn how to love your spouse versus giving up on them, okay?
Yeah, and so to take us into our next point, that would lead into communication.
Yes.
If something is not going well, if you're not happy with something, you have to talk about it. Sweeping, maybe this is a cultural thing again, sweeping things under the rug, right? Oh, I'm just not going to talk about it because every time I do, it becomes a problem. I don't really want to deal with the drama right now, so I'd rather just keep quiet. And then here we go, one issue after another, or one unresolved issue after another will eventually become a serious problem. And if you have serious problems that are unresolved after another, then it eventually becomes a crisis. And then all these crises unresolved will ultimately lead in divorce. And that's not what God wants for us. And that's not what we want for you guys.
Yeah. So open communication, one of the things that I want you guys, that goes along with the first one, seeking help and understanding, is that your spouse or your wife are going to go through different stages. Maybe they're wanting something different. Maybe they're going through a midlife crisis. Maybe they're feeling like they're not good enough anymore. Maybe all of these things. But if you don't kind of stop and acknowledge, like, hey, they've been acting a little bit weird or a little bit distant. Like, let me just ask, like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? Like, you know, and sometimes maybe like even that will lead us to our third point, but even just the midlife crisis, like for men in their 40s, I remember our pastor would say these things.
I'm in my 40s. What are you trying to say?
That he would say, like, he was saying for women, it's really dangerous in this time period because women in their 30s, and when you marry somebody older or somebody younger, for the women, their sex drive is going up, and then the man's is going down. And so here you are, you have these cross paths, right? That you think like, oh, they don't want me. Oh, no, they don't want me. And it's like, no, it's just something's happening in your body that you're not even talking about it. And you're not even saying or being open enough to say, you know what? I've been feeling just sad all these days. Like, I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know why I feel like I'm upset, or I don't know why I'm having anxiety. All these, like, just talk about these things. Be open with your spouse, and for the spouse that's listening, make sure that it's not about you. Make sure that you're not like, well, why? Like, but I'm doing this, but I'm doing that. It's not about you. It's about the other person and how they're feeling. And if you love this person, like, why be mean? Why be petty? Why be not nice? And just hear them out. Hear what they're trying to tell you, and stop trying to go all the way around. It's just saying, okay, what are you asking me that you need, and how this person that loves you, how can I give this to you? Because Jesus did that for us. Like, Jesus didn't sit there and say, like, well, I don't know if you're going to be a perfect person. Like, can I really give you this? It's like, no, like, let me give it to you regardless whether you deserve it or not, because I love you,
Yeah, and it's tough, because that means we have to lay our pride down. We have to put the need of our spouse ahead of our own. And as selfish beings, that's really difficult to do. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. And this is where, in our case, Christ and a relationship with Jesus is absolutely necessary for us to, one, understand what Christ has done for us. And if he's been loving and forgiving and gracious in spite of all that we've done, why can't we turn around and be just as loving, forgiving, and gracious, right? We're not Jesus, but why can't we do that for our spouse if supposedly they're the ones that we love so much that we're willing to spend the rest of our life with? Supposedly we made a public declaration of just how much we're going to love them for better or worse, rich or poor, sickness and in health. For some reason, when it comes time to actually do it, to actually have to put our actions where our words were, it's a totally different story, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. So express how you feel, and know that when the other person is telling you, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about just the person's expressing something that needs change. Don't try to fix everything.
Yeah.
Just listen. Hold them if they need that. And ask, like, would you like some advice? If not, okay, I'll just hold you.
Yeah, and
pray for them.
And for me, like, what really helps me kind of govern my thoughts and hold my thoughts captive to the Lord is this idea that an argument or a dispute or a disagreement is not the end of the world. It's actually an opportunity to learn. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity to learn about your spouse, what they may like or not like.
Yeah.
And if everything you did was like, oh, that's great. Oh, let's go eat here. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, let's do this. Okay, let's do that. And there was never any pushback. Like, that's so boring. and we are so different in a lot of ways. Yeah. Life would be miserable if you just had somebody that did everything that you wanted to do. Yeah. Like, nobody wants a life without pushback and challenge, whether it's emotional, intellectual challenge, somebody to help you rise above. Like, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for her pushing me to be a better husband. Like, trust me, if I could just sit around and do nothing all day, sign me up, right? But that creates other problems financially, right? Emotionally, like our connection, like there's just more to it. So a dispute, an argument is not the end of the world, and it doesn't mean your marriage is doomed. It means there's an opportunity for you to learn to be an expert in what your husband or wife may like or not like.
Yeah. So that leads on to the third, which is healthy sex life. What your husband or your wife likes or doesn't like. And at this moment, when you're older, Joel asked me why do you watch these K-dramas?
Sounds like it's getting personal.
He's like, why do you watch these K-dramas? And I tell him because it's for us, it's all about the love story. It's always about the love story. And it's not that we don't like to have sex or, sign me up, for some good sex, of course. However, what makes the part of the good sex...
Got that on video.
What makes part of the good sex is the intimacy that we get on the outside. Yeah. The flowers we receive on the outside. The flirting we receive on the outside. The, I can't have my hands off you because I'm attracted to you on the outside. Not just, the action part, right? And for the man, they don't really care about that stuff. We're the ones that care about that. Yeah. So there's something that the pastors, and it came from Mark Gungor, that was really, really awesome, that you can kind of visualize this and remember this. So it was talking about just when you have the urge for the man, when the man has the urge to just have sex, to know be nice to the girl.
Yeah.
Be nice to the girl. And what does that mean? Figure out what their love language is so you can be nice to the girl in their language. Because Joe has a very good way, like his love language is words of affirmation. Like you want to kill somebody, like tell him like, dude, you suck at something. Like that right there. Like
giving up all my secrets. All right. See how it is.
He's like, that's it.
I'll be the sacrificial lamb. Throw me under the bus.
He's like, dang, that heck of hurt, but I was gonna say, never mind. I'll say a joke.
I'll do it.
But the part of this is that, so if I want to hurt him, or before when I knew that hurt him, like I would cut him down with my words, because we were there once. And so for your wife, before your husband, find out the way that they like to be loved, and loved him that way. And what does Pastor Gabriel say about that phrase? Like if a man, if you don't want somebody to go in your bed, or like.
So Pastor taught us years ago, if you want your wife to take care of you inside the bed, then you take care of her outside the bed. And so that goes to what she was saying, the flirting, the flowers, the attention, the touching, the physical touch. The other thing is if you don't want her to find somebody else to entertain her, then you better do your job as a husband. And so that
vice versa too. And
it's harsh to hear that, but it's just the absolute truth.
In this culture especially, I think.
Yeah, in this culture, sure. It's almost like, the sad part is it almost seems as if men and women are looking outward already, and it's the spouse's job to keep me entertained, to keep me looking inside the relationship. And it shouldn't be that way, right? But that's what happens when we don't put enough effort and time into the relationship before the marriage part. Yeah. So that's just a whole different subject.
Podcast
but
right there.
This idea of healthy sex life is to try to bring together what she was saying, is that if I want access to her physically, right, to be intimate with her physically, I need to access that by touching her heart. Mm-hmm. So I do the flirting, buy flowers, physical touch, walking and holding hands.
Yeah.
And by reaching her and touching her heart, then she now gives me permission, right, through intimacy in bed, to allow me to say, okay, you touched my heart in this way, now I'm going to touch your body in this way, right? That's just to put it simply.
Yeah.
And so that's how things go. And oftentimes the reverse is true as well. It's just I don't want it to make it seem like, a woman's prostituting herself to get what she wants from her husband. That's not the case. You guys are married.
Yeah.
I have the dog sitting in my lap right now, and if I stop petting her, she'll move to where my hands are, and she's kind of looking around like, what's happening? Why are you stopping? So she puts her head in my hand, right? Just the same way, a husband is trainable in that way. If I do something good like fold the laundry or put away the dishes, she comes up to me and says, oh, thank you so much, baby. I love you so much. Thank you for helping me. She kisses me, right? She hugs me. That makes me feel good, right? And so as we mature, okay, as I become a better husband and partner, okay, one of the greatest ways that I could be rewarded as a man is you could say thank you, and I appreciate that. But there are other ways to say thank you, if you catch my drift, right? And sometimes actions speak louder than words, in this case as well. So if I do something and I'm being a good, if I'm being a good husband and I'm doing my part as a partner in this marriage, helping to take care of the kids, helping with dinner, right? There are things that I can do. She's not been feeling well. Okay, am I putting a lot of pressure on her to perform as a mother still? Am I putting a lot of pressure on her to perform intimately as a wife when she's not feeling good? I shouldn't do that. Yeah. She's not a piece of meat there to please and entertain me when I want, when I need. No, this is a marriage. It's a relationship. Yeah. It's a partnership. So if she's not feeling well, then as a mature man, I need to know when it's not appropriate for me to make her feel like she has to put up with my sexual advances even when she's not feeling well.
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't mean just because I don't get that intimacy physically, oh, fine, then I'm not going to do my part as a husband. No. Yeah. I'm an adult man. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I still need to do my part. Now, when she is feeling better and she does say, you know what, I'm so appreciative of you. I love you so much. Now she has a desire for me physically, because I have been stepping up and doing my part as her partner in life, as her husband, as the love of her life.
Yeah.
And so by doing my part, it also causes a desire in her to awaken to want to be with me physically.
Yeah.
And so now, as me doing my part will make her want to show me affection in that way, not only as a way of saying, I see you, I appreciate you, but I respect you as a man, and I am your one and only. I am your wife. And when we connect in that way physically, it's also a bond emotionally, chemically, physically, that keeps me looking that keeps me looking inward, because I really only have eyes for her, and I really only desire her as the husband of my children. I really only desire her as the mother of my children. I really only desire her as my best friend, right, as my partner in life, and I don't want to look anywhere else, and I won't. Right? And so these are the things that we can do to try to keep our marriage strong and keep our relationship moving forward.
So for homework, what we encourage you to do when you go to bed at night, this is not a moment to be arguing. Try to go to bed together. If you guys are laying down, try to put your phones aside and make a rule like, hey, at this time, can we just put our phones aside? And if both sides are listening to this, like, please don't get upset with your wife, or please don't get upset with your husband because you say, hey, can we put our phones aside at this time because I just want to spend time with you. Just listen to what's behind there. They're just wanting to spend time with you. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. The people in the phone are not going to give you sex. Your partner is. Yeah. So put that phone down and sit there.
And I saw a reel too, like, don't be the partner either where it's like you put your phone down and then 3 seconds later you're like, how come you're still on your phone? Like, if you just put your phone down, be reasonable and make this time for each other, right? It might be awkward at first, but it's for a good cause. It's for your marriage.
Phones away, and just ask this question. How can I this week, or how can I tomorrow, or how can I, mainly this week, make you feel for the man that I respect you? And when the person says, hey, I would actually like this or this, don't be like, well, if you would be doing this, then I wouldn't be doing that. No, this is not up for discussion. This is what he's asking. So just do what he's asking. It's kind of like if they would tell you, like, hey, I want, this type of hamburger. It's like, you're not going to tell him, no, you don't. It's like, no, just give him that what he's asking. For the husband, do this and ask the wife, hey, how can I show you that I love you this week? And if she says, well, it's been a while since you brought me flowers, or I would like some more flirting, or I would like if you did this, or help with the kids, whatever that is, do that. Again, not up for discussion. Just express that to each other, love each other, and just spend quality time, watch a movie together, and just hang out with each other, knowing that that's what you're going to practice for that week to make your relationship stronger. So that's it.
That's it.
All right.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Take care.
Bye.